let me also say, I have a sign-in sheet that Nicole has brought, and we've got a couple of them. Please let me pass it around. If you would fill out all the information, all the blogs. Are any of you on Facebook? You know what Facebook is?
Yeah, right there.
Y'all need to get on Facebook. So
another guy got elected.
Well, we can use it in our term this time. But pass Facebook around. Pass it around. Tell me if you're on Facebook. Put it on here.
Well, are you on Twitter?
I'm not on Twitter. I don't even know what Twitter is, but Nicole's got me on Facebook.
Quit tweeting.
Yes, sir. I'm going to take a few questions, and Lonnie, can I just?
No, I'd like you to do if everybody has questions.
One of my greatest frustrations is what's going on now up there regarding this debt limit. And these people, it looks to me here in eastern Oklahoma like these people who are Republicans are getting ready to cave in on this thing.
You know, I was optimistic. Monday, I went up to Salisbury and spoke, and that afternoon I didn't get to read the plan. And some of it I liked, some of it I didn't. Coburn came out with a $9 trillion over 10 years. I thought that was very promising. If we could get the leaders to accept that, that would be a wonderful start. $900 billion a year for 10 years. Today I see, as you've indicated, 1/3 of that. That's only $300 billion a year for 10 years, and in 10 years, $300 billion won't even be here. So, big concern, sir.
Half of us sitting us around were tagged as a cult today.
Today? We were?
And
I've been working all day, so I haven't seen the
half of us sitting there are Tea Partiers also. Are you prepared to defend being associated with us culters?
Well, if you all believe that the buck stops with spending money, then I am willing to jump in and say I'm part of that group and I'll fight it. We don't have a Tea Party chapter in Johnston County, but from what I know the Tea Party is, they don't believe in spending money that we don't have, and they believe in restricting the federal government's growth and expansion. If that's what that's about, I don't know who can oppose it. And if we don't go that route, what will we have to fight for in another 20 years? I don't know. Yes, ma'am. Sorry?
You join an online nation.
She asked who are the Democrats running in the race. Okay. I don't know. I mean, and I don't want to speculate. There's a lot of names in the race on the Republican and the Democrat side. Kenneth Corn, I will say, has announced he has formed an exploratory committee. He's a former senator, a very liberal voting record from Poto, and he'll be a formidable candidate. He lost the race for lieutenant governor, so we don't know who will run. But I want you all to remember, we're all pumped up and we're ready to go, and I do believe we'll elect a Republican. But this is a 75 to 80% registered Democrat district. It's going to take a lot of work. They're not going to let this seat go easily. It's going to take us all working every day to beat the machine of the Democratic Party. They're going to throw everything they've got into this district. So we don't know who will be in the race, but we do know that they're going to fight. Caleb Free's from here.
Who?
Kaylin Free.
We also, I was looking at the stats coming up here today. Pittsburgh County is a 23% Republican registration. So that means 77% of the voters here either don't consider themselves conservative or they're not registered Republican. So that's going to be something that we have to look at. Yes?
How many voters in this district?
In this congressional district?
Yeah.
Every congressional district is apportioned as close to 700 to 800,000 residents as is possible. In this district, there are approximately 100,000 registered Republicans.
That's what I wanted to know right there.
And in the last race, 23,000 of them voted in the primary. So we will elect a nominee with between 20 and 25,000 votes on the high end.
$10 will make $1 million.
Any other questions? Yes.
Can you raise money?
Can I raise money? Well, it's like the preacher said when the storm came through town and blew away the church. Folks, the bad news is we're going to have to rebuild the church and we've got the money. The good news is we've got the money. The bad news is it's in your pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm raising money.
What was your question, Mark?
money's in your pocket. It's no lawyer.
Do you have an opinion on how we should resolve this situation going on now that the Democrats and the Republicans are fighting over? Do you have an opinion on how it should be?
On the debt ceiling?
Yeah, on the raise the national debt or bring it down, how it, and bringing the deficit down over years. Do you have an opinion on how you think you would do it?
Well, as I said, I think it's going to take a commitment from all of America to endure some pretty heavy cuts.
Yeah, everybody's gonna have to cut.
You know, the entitlement programs have grown at such an enormous rate. And it's going to be painful. We all have people that are on some sort of, we all know people on some sort of entitlement program. And
Are we
so,
gonna have to raise revenue at the same time that we're cutting it down?
I think the most important thing we can do is to make cuts in what we're spending. I think the second most important thing we can do is to realize that the money that will get us out of this is in the pockets of the business owners, and we need to free them up as much as possible to create more jobs, which will in turn create more revenue. We don't need to regulate them like I told you that we were doing to the Dairy Queen and Tishomingo. We need the government to step back and say, let the private sector be private. And third, we need to realize that those people that are paying taxes, that's money that's not going into the private sector to create jobs. So, you know, I'm not concerned. You know, Washington wouldn't have to be concerned with what we're sending to Washington if they weren't spending so much.
You know my number?
Plus, you know, my mom always told me it's not what you make as it is what you do with what you make. And so Congress needs to learn that lesson. It is what they do with what they have. And no, I am not in favor of giving them a penny more. I think they get too much, and that's not even enough. And if we give them more, they won't be satisfied.